What just happened with Angel Reese? Did she really just quit on her team right after the locker room drama exploded? That's the question blowing up across social media, and the way it all went down feels less like sports and more like a Netflix plot twist. You think you've seen it all, and then, bam, another layer gets pulled back. Let's dig in, because what's happening with Angel Reese in the Chicago sky is messy, dramatic, and honestly a little bit shocking. But before we dive too deep, quick pause. If you love breaking stories, no filter sports talk, and commentary that cuts through the noise, make sure you like this video, drop a comment with your thoughts on Angel Reese, and subscribe for more. Your engagement helps keep the truth flowing, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. So here's where things start. Angel Reese, a player hyped as one of the WNBA's future faces, suddenly sits out with a back injury. On the surface, that sounds reasonable. Back injuries happen. But here's the kicker. She barely played. So how exactly did the back injury happen? That little inconsistency was the first domino to fall, and it left fans scratching their heads. And confusion breeds curiosity, doesn't it? Because if it wasn't a real injury, then what was it? And that's where the whispers began. Was this just Angel checking out mentally? Did she pull the plug on the season herself? The idea of tapping out floated around, like she just said, "I'm done." Imagine Rocky throwing in the towel before Apollo hit the canvas. That's the vibe people are picking up here. And here's the real twist. This isn't the first time. Observers are connecting dots back to previous seasons where Reese also faded out down the stretch. So now we're staring at a pattern. Not a one-time fluke, a habit. And habits say a lot more than excuses. Here's the payoff. If this is a pattern, then the injury story starts to look less like bad luck and more like a strategy. But hold on, because it gets worse. Not only did Reese bow out, but she did it right after putting her teammates under the bus. Picture it. She doesn't just leave the car, she throws everyone else in front of it, drives forward, backs up, and drives forward again. That's not frustration, that's demolition. And now you have to ask, what exactly happened in that Chicago locker room that triggered such a scorched earth moment? That's the million-dollar question, because according to reports, things inside the Sky locker room weren't just tense, they were toxic. And Reese didn't help. Instead of keeping issues private, she aired them out, shifting blame away from herself. That's not leadership, that's alienation. And when you alienate an entire locker room, it's not just your season on the line, it's your career. Here's where the story takes another turn. Head coach Tyler Marsh was put in the awkward position of defending her. When pressed about why Reese wasn't playing, Marsh carefully explained that she reported back pain pregame, and the staff decided to be cautious. On paper, that's professional, but in tone, it sounded like survival. Like a coach trying not to ignite an even bigger fire in a season already gone up in smoke. Think about it. This is a coach with a 10-30 record. 10 wins, 30 losses. How do you even manage that? And yet, Marsh is juggling both the losses and the drama, still standing in front of cameras, keeping the lid from completely blowing off. That's not just coaching, that's hazard duty. But here's the cliffhanger. If the coach is covering, then what is he covering for? Because let's be real, a player who warms up, then suddenly declares her back is shot, right after serving a suspension, that doesn't smell like coincidence. That smells like a story being spun in real time. And the timing couldn't be more suspicious. With only a couple of games left in the season, what's really at stake? For Reese, maybe it's not about finishing, it's about escaping. And that's when the speculation explodes. Fans online are saying it out loud. Maybe Reese doesn't want to play basketball anymore. Maybe the court isn't the destination, it's the detour. Because when you look at her brand, her TikTok presence, her modeling, her growing celebrity persona, you start to see a bigger picture. And here's the aha moment. If basketball is no longer the main goal, then suddenly the quitting, the excuses, the drama, it all makes sense. It's not random, it's not reckless, it's calculated. But that insight just opens up a new mystery. If she's more focused on being a content creator than an athlete, then what happens to her WNBA career? Execs are already labeling her a third or fourth best player on a good team. Translation? She's not the star. She's the side character. She's Alec Baldwin in The Departed, not DiCaprio or Nicholson. Useful, but not the centerpiece. And if you're not the centerpiece, but you act like one, what happens? You clash. You burn bridges. You wreck locker rooms, and that brings us to another payoff. Wherever Reese goes, the same fire follows. Think about it. One locker room drama could be bad luck. 2 is a red flag. But if every locker room turns into a war zone, that's not bad luck. That's a pattern. And patterns don't lie. They reveal the truth. Which leads us to the big cliffhanger. What team is willing to take that risk next? Or has Angel Reese already played her last meaningful game in the WNBA? Fans are even joking about it now. Better brush up on your Spanish, Angel. The Mexican League is calling. Others are saying Saudi Arabia pays more. If she really loves money, maybe that's the next stop. Harsh? Yes. But here's the sting. This isn't just fans trolling. It's a reflection of how quickly her reputation is deteriorating. A year ago, she was celebrated. Now, she's a punchline. And reputations once broken are hard to rebuild. But there's another twist. Reese still has a strong fan base. And they're not just defending her, they're turning her into a victim. Somehow she can throw her teammates under the bus, sit out games, stir chaos, and her supporters spin it as heroism. That disconnect between reality and perception is what makes this story so wild. Because it begs the question, what happens when the hype collides with the truth? And that's the deeper issue. Social media builds stars overnight, but it also destroys them just as fast. Angel Reese might be caught in that cycle, where the online persona grows bigger than the on-court performance. And once that happens, the court becomes secondary. The WNBA becomes the side hustle. The brand becomes the main act. And if that's the case, then here's the shocking thought. Maybe Angel Reese quitting wasn't quitting at all. Maybe it was rebranding. But that aha moment just opens the door to another cliffhanger. If this was her move to pivot away from basketball, how will the league react? Because let's be clear, the WNBA doesn't tolerate players who undermine teams, wreck locker rooms, and treat the season like a side gig. The execs will only give so much rope before they cut ties. And if Reese wants out, well, they might just help her out the door. The real tragedy here? Angel Reese has talent. Nobody denies that. But talent without accountability is a ticking time bomb. And when the bomb goes off, it doesn't just destroy your stats, it destroys trust. And trust is the real currency in any team sport. Once teammates don't trust you, once coaches don't trust you, once the league doesn't trust you, you're done. And that's the tightrope Reese is wobbling on right now. Every decision she makes from here on out matters. Does she double down on the social media stardom? Or does she regroup, repair relationships, and prove she's committed to basketball? Both paths are still open. But the clock is ticking. And the fans, the coaches, the media, they're all watching and waiting to see which way she goes. So did Angel Reese quit? Did she tap out? Or did she make a calculated decision to step away on her own terms? That's the mystery. That's the cliffhanger. And until the next chapter unfolds, the only thing we know for sure is this. Angel Reese may not just be playing basketball, she may be playing a bigger game entirely.